Let's go to the NFC North. Last place. Are we in agreement?
Yes.
The Lions.
I think it's kind of close though. I think the Bears could really fall apart quickly.
I am happy you are saying this.
I am not going to be on the Bears train this year.
No.
I feel like I might have been last year or something, but
Well, hey, listen. One of the most embarrassing moments of my life. I was so high on the Lions last year. I had the Lions making the playoffs. I had the Lions going 10-6. I don't know what the fuck it is about the Lions. I love them. I love Matt Stafford. I love Kenny G. The buck pretty much stops there, but I have them going 10-6.
no shot. Oh yeah,
Completely indespicable, unexplainable. But no, you know what? I don't know what the fuck it is with me. Like, I've always been a huge Matthew Stafford fan. Kenny Galladay's always been like, this is something about the Lions. I wanted to come in here very spicy about them, but I just can't. Like, not playoffs or anything like that, but I can't.
It's interesting because you look at their roster a little bit on offense, and I kind of like it, right? Like, but it's like you expect these, like Hawkinson. It's even in fantasy, I was like, okay, I like Hawkinson. He's great potential, but I feel like he's gonna get injured. And then you got Goff, who you don't really trust. Dan Campbell was talking about, eating kneecaps and all that kind of shit. So, which I kind of like for them, by the way. I kind of like that spiciness for the Lions.
I've seen some people say.
I don't know if I'm crazy on that, but
no, I don't think you are. I've seen some people say, and it's a good take that like
I'm just not gonna write him off because he's saying some crazy shit. Like people that play football are fucking nuts.
I don't know if Dan Campbell will be the guy if the Lions ever do rebuild and they're in the playoffs. I don't know if he'll still be the coach, but he's like a perfect bridge coach who can change the culture of this program, which is much needed, and get them going in the right direction, and then they move on. Like, you see that all the time with young rebuilding teams. It's very rare that a coach comes into a shit team and they're still there at the end of the rebuild. It is pretty rare. But this team is just, I think this team, right, because they're good, they have a good offensive line, they have a pretty decent defensive line, so this team will come out and they'll catch some teams slipping. I do believe that. Like,
I think so.
This will be a perfect trap game team. Well, they'll run.
If Swift could get right, man, I mean, he could really be the guy to kind of bring him up another level.
Oh, yeah.
But, I mean, I'm hearing all kinds of bad things. I don't know about you, but I'm reading that he's out of shape, this kind of shit. I mean, seems like he's got some issues. So, I mean, you look at the division, you're like, okay, well, I'm going to pick the Lions to be last. It's
just they're just not talented. They're in this stage of a rebuild, and it just is what it is. And on top of that, right, like, I think Dan Campbell's going to instill a good culture, but you look at the start of their schedule, they go San Francisco at home, Green Bay on the road, Baltimore at home, Chicago on the road, the Vikings on the road, the Bengals at home, the Rams on the road. That could very easily be 0-7. And regardless of the culture you're instilling, like, it's hard to be like, yeah, we're going to fucking bite kneecaps off when you're 0-7. And I do really like where the Lions are headed. So they're going to finish last because they're just not talented enough. But,
maybe another year.
Yeah. Give them some time because I like the direction they're headed. And I like what you said about the Bears because you have them third too, I'm guessing?
Yes.
I have them third as well. And I do agree that this could go down in flames.
Yeah.
But if Justin Fields is who we think he could be, this team could also be good. Like, as far as across the league, the Bears the Bears are one of the most volatile teams where, like, I could see them winning 11, 12 games, but I can also see them winning 3 and fucking Nagy's fired halfway through the season. And there's like a mutiny in the locker room because these players, or Andy Dalton was playing well, and then he got benched, or Andy Dalton's been shit and they want Fields. Like, it's going to be a weird situation there.
Yeah, and kind of like you said with the Lions schedule, I mean, all the NFC North is going to be having the same schedule. So I worry about the schedule for all these teams. And you look at the NFC North historically, other than maybe the Packers, a lot of these teams finish around 500, and it's really, really tight. So, and like you said, I mean, we're about the Bears unraveling. I don't know how much I think Justin Fields is really ready to be thrown out there. The O-line is really shaky. You expect the running game to be decent. I mean, David Montgomery took a big step up last year. I mean, he's a quality back. But I feel like they want to throw the ball, and I think it's odd that they don't make a move at receiver. I mean, other than Allen Robinson, it's really a whole lot of nothing.
I think you're really banking on a Darnell Mooney step forward. It's possible. I like him.
It's possible, but I just think they need another big-time weapon or something. But I don't know if Justin Fields is going to be ready, man, this year. I feel like if Dalton looks good, I think you ride with Dalton, and I don't really trust in this team at all, man.
No, I agree. Like, I think their defense is still okay, but it's not as good as it was.
Everyone still thinks it's as good as what that defense from like 4 years ago.
Right, like if Andy Dalton is like the guy all year and he's shitting his pants because the offensive line's terrible, and as Cowboys fans we saw that last year. Andy Dalton is who he is. He's fine. When the Cowboys offensive line collapsed in on itself, Andy Dalton was running for his life and it was not pretty. There's a lot of different directions.
The Bears organization is just kind of weird.
There's a lot of different directions this team can go, and I hope that they get Fields in there early and he looks good, because this team has been needing a quarterback for God, like their entire franchise's history. So
yeah, and that's why it's already been kind of crazy, because the fans booing Andy Dalton on the field and shit. So Justin Fields is like, hey, can y'all not do that?
Yeah, again, out of any team in the league, I could see this team being one that burns out, and because there's always a couple teams that just completely burn out, and I could see the Bears being one. So who do you have second?
I have the Vikings, who I actually am pretty. I don't know. I have a weird feeling about the Vikings, that they could be kind of sneaky, really good.
No, the Vikings should be better last year, considerably.
I'm a huge Justin Jefferson fan.
Yeah,
I think the dude is phenomenal. I mean, if Kirk Cousins can just hold on to the football, if Dalvin can stay healthy, run the ball, if the defense is supposed to be improved, I think this could be a sneaky good team, especially if we're going to get to the Packers. Packers start having some issues, the Vikings could win this division for sure.
I don't think it's as crazy as it sounds. Like, if you were to tell somebody the Vikings might win the NFC North, they'd be like, what? You're crazy. But then you stop and you think about it. I do agree. Like, this defense, Hunter missed all of last season. Michael Pierce opted out. He's back. They got Dalvin Thomas. Like, this is going to be a much improved defense. And if they can get back to, like, that, that Mike Zimmer mold of physical defense, they're going to, rush the passer. They're going to play you hard, and then they're going to run the ball. They're going to win a lot of games. That's a very good recipe.
And I feel like they've had a good offseason. Like, you haven't heard shit about the Vikings this offseason, man.
Yeah, no news is good
news. I feel like Zimmer is like nailing into these guys. Like what are we like? Are we gonna guys? Are we gonna win or what?
Nailing into these guys?
Are we gonna? You let the Packers just beat our ass every year, or are we gonna take a step forward?
They do. I mean, that is the thing. The Packers, we both have one. I mean, they just beat up on every single team in this division every year.
Right.
It's almost sad.
They're clearly the most stacked team. You got Rodgers coming back. They say it's all happy, good vibes. You got Devontae Adams, Aaron Jones. I mean, obviously you're gonna pick them to win the division, but I could see the Vikings, stealing a game from them, and I think it's going to be really tight. If the Bears are good, I think the top three is going to be really, really tight.
Yeah, this is another team that could send 3.
I actually have the Vikings making the playoffs. So
yeah, I actually didn't do who I think makes the playoffs, but that makes sense to me. I actually think I have the Vikings missing out of the playoffs.
It depends on what you got in the West.
It's so hard. I got 3 teams in the West. I got 2 teams in the South. We'll talk about that division here in a second. But yeah, with the Packers, it's Aaron Rodgers. There's really nothing else to say. They got elite talent everywhere. David Bakhtiari's going to miss time. That hurts, but he'll be back at some point. That's a good offensive line still. Jair Alexander's a fucking beast. Like, this team is just stupid. Devontae Adams probably the best wide receiver in the NFL. Like, this team is just stupid. It's just absolutely stupid. And the Packers. Like, you think?
I mean, do we believe in any of the raw from the offseason is gonna carry over into the season?
Not Rodgers. Maybe different teams. I'd be like, oh man, I'm a little bit concerned. But Rodgers gonna go out and take care of business. And I do think this is it. I do believe this is it. I buy into all of that.
Oh yeah. I buy into. It sounded like all the teammates were like behind him the whole time. Like, there wasn't any animosity from what he was doing.
Yeah,
it seemed like a lot of the players actually supported what he was doing.
Yeah, and then you had the Devontae Adams
came out and was talking to former Packers that had gotten shit on, kicked out the door and all that. It seemed like a lot of players were on his side.
Yeah, and then you had Devontae Adams and him both posting the Last Dance thing. I believe that. I really do. I believe this is it. Mm-hmm. So I think they're gonna come out and take care of business. So this is going to be a sneaky good division, I think, depending on what the Bears do, because the Bears could flame out and be horrible. But I think we have the same exact order. That's pretty chalky. That's just, I think that's what most people would say.